In consulting, it's incredibly beneficial to digitalize the process by which consultants are giving advice to their clients. I'm not talking about the custom in-depth advice, but I'm talking about the repetitive advice. Repetitive advice where you're using pre-selected or predefined questionnaires, doing the same kind of analysis over and over again, and creating the same kind of PDF reports over and over again. So we have, and I'm going to talk about two specific cases. The first one is an example. It's a maturity assessment. Maturity assessment where you're going to measure the maturity in specific processes or specific domains like cybersecurity, inclusion, data privacy. And at the same time having the ability to analyze what people have said, what people have responded during the assessment, and then create that PDF report. Now, what we hear from our clients and prospects is that very often this is a manual or semi-manual process and that it takes a lot of time. So, in fact, typically they use what we call the duct tape solution. It's using like a survey tool, like SurveyMonkey or Qualtrics to collect the data. Download the data into Excel. From Excel, making some analysis, creating some graphs, putting these in a Word document, adding some comments, and then saving that Word document as a PDF report and send it to the client. That is a process that can take quite some time. Again, manual sometimes. We hear it's still manual even with the bigger and with the larger clients. But as well, it's something that takes time and is costing money, obviously. Now, there's something that is very important. Companies are thinking in a way that it's, of course, just you spend time on it, and due to the fact that you spend time on it, you can charge that amount of money to the client, which is true, but at the end of the road, the customer is not really interested in paying money for the time you spend on this. The client is interested in paying money for the end result. The end result is a report in which they get correct advice, interesting advice and feedback on the first findings, for example, if this was an initial assessment. So you have to think in a very different way. It's not about the headcount and the time you can spend on this kind of things that is going to generate revenue. You should think in another way. Why wouldn't you think about a method in which you create the full questionnaire, the full report automatically, and just by doing this, generate that report and create some revenue for your company while not having to spend any headcount on it? That's a very different way of doing this. So if you see this graph here, you see in fact that this one line, the straight line, is the typical model where revenue is equal to headcount or has a direct relation with headcount. And really what you want to do with digital tools or with digital processes is that you're going to, an automatic process, you're going to generate much more revenue and profit that is going to be independent of headcount. So that's a very important finding, and that's really what you want to reach ultimately. A second case is a questionnaire that you're going to use repetitively within one organization. Think about an assessment around burnout and burnout risks. So if you are a psychologist and you've created a burnout risk model, means questionnaire and advice you're going to give based on the answers and potential results like numbers that you and scores you've obtained in the questionnaire, then at that moment what you want to do obviously is that you want to create a report for each individual who's taken that assessment. Now I think this is a company with 1,000 employees, 1,000 people have to take that assessment, so it's impossible to write reports manually, obviously. So what companies do typically is that they create apps, custom apps. The app contains a questionnaire, the app contains a PDF report that is automatically generated, it's nicely branded, everything, but it's a custom app. Custom apps are great in one sense, but, and that's the negative side, costly, that's number one. We hear sometimes costing maybe $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 euro. It's a lot of money you need to spend and very difficult to maintain. If you want to make changes, you need to go back to the developer, IT people, ask them to make the changes. It will take time. It's going to cost you money again. Talking to one of our customers, they said like, hey, sometimes it's just costing us almost like $2,000 or $3,000 each month to make changes because this questionnaire is evolving all the time. So custom apps are great on one end, but they're very costly and are difficult to maintain. And it takes time to create them. So it's not because you have an idea, because you've got your model today, that tomorrow the app will be built. It takes time to build it. And every time you want to make changes, it's going to take time to see these changes appear in your questionnaire and in your PDF report. So as a conclusion, we at Pointerpro automate the full advisory process. We have a software that will allow you to create questionnaires and PDF reports that are automatically generated and that respondents can instantly download. It's a do-it-yourself tool. It's made for non-technical people. It's made for our clients, well, consultants, many other people as well, but consultants specialize in different domains. Could be data privacy, could be ESG, could be well-being, could be any other type of domain. The important thing is that you can build the questionnaires and PDF reports in our tool. And that's the big advantage. From the moment that you've built it, it can run autonomously. In fact, your respondents will take it, get the PDF reports without you having to be involved each time. So you will save time and still be able to generate a lot of revenue and profit. Well, I hope this was an interesting story for you, and I hope to be in touch soon. Thanks.